to the post-match pint. But today we're going to be doing a video because obviously today, as of today, I'm recording on Saturday the 10th of August, and season's just started. Liverpool just beat Norwich 4-1, and I thought maybe to do a Premier League predictions video. Obviously we're still going to do the podcasts when we get back to uni, and we can record them either in our flat or in the studio booths we've got, so we can just do that. But at the moment, I'm just going to do a video while I'm at home for the time being on Premier League predictions. Finn's made some as well, but I'm not sure if he's going to do a video on it. But I'm just going to do mine right here and justify my reasons as to why I think they're going to finish in those certain positions. So, we're about to get started. In 20th, I've put Newcastle. I'm sorry, Newcastle fans, I don't know if anyone even watches it that's a Newcastle fan, but unfortunately, getting Steve Bruce as your manager from Rafa Benitez is probably the biggest downgrade this season a club's had. It's pretty tragic. Obviously, you've got a guy there that's won the Champions League, won tons of other leagues like La Liga and stuff, to Steve Bruce, who I think he came runner-up in the FA Cup once. That's about it. Obviously an ex-Villa manager, but he was a bit shit this time last year for Villa. So, and now he's got the Newcastle job somehow, which is a little bit surprising considering he's turned down this job before, and he's also managed Sunderland, which can't go well with the Newcastle fans, surely. I know he said he knows from Newcastle and he's a Geordie boy and whatever, but he played his whole career at Man United and he's already turned down the job before. But also, in addition to Steve Bruce, obviously it's going to be part of the bus football, blah blah blah. You know, not positive, free-flowing football. Not that Benitez's was any better, because obviously the team's not that good. But they have sold Perez, and that's a big problem. He was their second highest goal scorer, and I think he was their top assister. And the problem with that is they've lost their top goal scorer as well. They've lost Perez and they've lost Rondon, and they're half their goals from last season, so they're going to have to improve on that. So they've signed Joleton, I don't know how you say it, from Hoffenheim for 40 million. Can't believe how much money they spent. I guess they sold Perez for 30 million, but they signed him, but he's not scored that many goals in the Bundesliga. He doesn't really justify a 40 million price tag. Maybe he's got some amazing hold-up play, can maybe bring other players into the game, but do Newcastle have wingers that are going to score tons and tons of goals? I don't think so. They've signed another midfielder, I couldn't quite remember his name, but I'm not sure if he's very good either. It's French league maybe he came from? I'm sorry, I'm not up to date with Newcastle, but me, 20th. Just because of how much they've lost Perez and Rondon and Benitez and how that might impact the team. Next, I've gone for Sheffield United. I'm sorry, Sheffield United fans, but unfortunately, I think you've got a fantastic manager in Chris Wilder. Obviously, you came second in the Championship, so you didn't have to go through the playoffs or anything, and you pipped Leeds to it. But yeah, like I said, Wilder's a great manager. You know, he's crazy with his tactics, bringing his centre back up as a number 10 when you attack, and it just completely messes up the other team's tactics. But reinforcement-wise, I think they've prepped for the Championship. Especially signings like Callum Robinson from Preston. I know they signed a midfielder from Swansea for about 20 million. They've signed Championship players. It's a bit like what Cardiff did last season when they signed Bobby Reed and players like that. A bit of Championship reinforcement. I don't think that will. I think you need to make a step up or buy players from other top leagues to maybe just like the smallest bit of Premier League. I know they got Jagielka, but is he past it? I know he's gone back to his boyhood club, but well, I think they'll be fine. They won't concede loads, but I can't see them scoring a lot. Especially with Billy Sharp as their main striker, who's 34. Well, they also bought a guy from Bournemouth, but he's only scored 8 goals, I think, in 70 appearances or something. which obviously isn't very good. Bournemouth have been in the league for quite a while now, so fortunately gonna have to put Sheffield United 19th. Ravel Morrison might be a surprise for them, but for me, 19th. The 18th I've gone for Brighton. Again, it's a bit of a similar situation for Sheffield United. I mean, Graham Potter did okay at Swansea last season, but I mean, it's a bit of a weird. I can understand why Chris Hughton got sacked last season, because they were just having they were just going for 0-0s and for single points like last 3 or 4 games of the season just to ensure survival. But yeah, they've again have only signed Championship players. Like Neil Maupay's obviously did very well in the Championship last season, but can he do it in the Prem? That's always the question, isn't it? And then they bought Webster from Bristol as well for over 20 million. Another big signing, but it's another Championship player. It was Bristol's player of the season though. I'm sure some of these players can make a step up, but you need to buy the occasional Premier League experienced player or top league player, in my opinion. And for me, they just haven't got enough to stay up. And considering last season where they just barely stayed in the league, I'm gonna have to put them in the relegation zone. Next up, 17th, I got Norwich. See, they play a fantastic brand of football. They're really, really high up the pitch, gone and scored loads and loads and loads of goals. And obviously, Pukki was fantastic for them last season. But the question is, will he be able to do the same this season? They've not reinforced that much. They've only spent 3 or 4 million. They've bought a new goalkeeper, which could potentially be very good. Well, not bought. They've bought them in on loan. But also that's all they've done. They've just signed a few loan players and spent a couple of mil on others. Obviously they do have a structure where they buy players on cheap, statistical wise, a bit like what Brentford do in the Championship, hopefully, so they have a high resale value in the future. But obviously, because they're still trying to clear their debts, you would have thought with obviously coming first in the Championship and getting that 170 mil you get for just getting into the Premier League, you would have thought they'd spend a bit more. Obviously they had quite a good core anyway, but obviously Pukki, for me, in the Championship last season, scored a lot of tap-ins, which I don't know if he's going to get that many chances next season, but he did score a goal against Liverpool yesterday as of recording, but they did lose 4-1. But like I said, they've got a young, hungry team, and for me, over Brighton, Newcastle and Sheffield United, they've got a bit more. Like, their football will be a lot more. They'll beat the likes of probably Bournemouth and maybe Villa as well, teams that want to play forward football but maybe don't have the quality of the top 6. For 16th, I've gone with Burnley. They've not really reinforced that much. They've brought Jay Rodriguez back from West Brom, which is a bit of a weird appointment, if I'm honest. But yeah, I think that they also have made a big loss in getting rid of their captain, Heaton. Personally, I think that's yeah, so Burnley at 16th. I thought personally they've only signed Jay Rodriguez. He's been in the Championship for a season. He scored a lot of goals. I mean, between him and Gale in the Championship, they've got 40 goals between them. But personally, I don't know if he's an improvement on Chris Wood and is it Vokes, the other striker for Burnley. I don't know. They're quite robust. They're very disciplined. They're strong at the back. They won't concede many next season. They got Nick Pope coming back, and that for me, they're going to get a lot of like 1-0 wins, maybe a couple of 2-1s. They'll get enough points to stay up. And obviously Sean Dyche is doing a fantastic job with that team. It's not a very good team on paper, but he's doing well with them. But yeah, like I said, Tom Heaton, massive loss. Personally, he's obviously gone to Villa, but for him, he's their captain. I know there was a lot of Burnley fans when I was reading through Twitter that weren't happy that he got sold, but they did get 8 million out of him. They've not reinvested it, but I think they'll survive. 15th, I've gone with Palace. This may change because I will put this down at the time of them thinking they'd lose both Wan-Bissaka and Zaha. So they did lose Wan-Bissaka to Manchester United, who obviously will now go off and have a fantastic career. And they haven't signed a right back to replace him, which is a bit worrying for a lot of Palace fans they've put. So they might be playing a centre back or something next season, which is not good. But obviously he won't be offering anything attacking wise as a centre back. But yeah, I've put him in 15th because, let's be honest, the last 2 or 3 seasons they've been carried by Wilfried Zaha. I mean, everything goes through him: goals, assists, any chances they get. They've got a Benteke that's nowhere near on form. They've got a Jordan Ayew who's okay, average-ish in the Premier League, and they've got a Townsend who's getting on a bit now. And for me, they're really pacey. They had Batshuayi as well last season, who they've lost because obviously they just got him on loan. But for me, the pacey team, they'll probably do well away, but at home and stuff, they're going to lose a lot of games. But 15th, maybe they'll get 14th now they got Zaha in, but they've like I said, they got Zaha, so they're going to stay up. So 14th, I've gone for Aston Villa. Bit optimistic. Maybe I'll change them and Burnley around. I don't know. I think anything from 13th to 17th can all change around. I'll put Villa at 14th. Personally, I know a lot of people have said we're doing a Fulham because obviously we've signed 12 players. But the only thing a lot of people forgot, you have to remember, is 8 players ran out of contracts that were all in their early to mid 30s, and then also we had 6 or 7 loan signings as well that went out. We have recouped some of them loan signings. Tyrone Mings being a big one, Courtney House and El Ghazi, who was probably the best player in our playoff final last season. But yeah, we've also reinvested in areas we've needed to. Like left back, we only had 1 left back at the club last season. We had Neil Taylor. Now we've got Matt Targett. We've got Gilbert at right back, was one of the, if you look at who scored, he was like one of the top 3 right backs last season for ratings. He got like a 7.4 on average. Midfield, we've done well. We needed a defensive midfielder. We've signed Marvelous and Kamba, who's quite versatile. He's in and around the area. We've got Douglas Luiz as well from Man City, who Pep was really annoyed that he couldn't get a work permit from last season, but we got one for him for some reason. But that's a bit weird. Anyway, we're going to be playing a lot of free-flowing football, so I expect us to concede a lot next season. We may have signed Tom Heaton, and that may have been a fantastic signing personally, even though he's 33 and he cost us 8 million. He will hopefully keep us up in the Prem. But we will concede a lot, especially against Liverpool, Man City. I could see us losing 4 or 5-0. But I am optimistic against teams like Bournemouth, like a Brighton, a Newcastle, that we could absolutely thump them. Hopefully. Because obviously Wesley's a great hold-up player. We've got wingers that can score. But yeah, we just got to hope the team can gel, because obviously if they don't gel, we are definitely going to do a Fulham and we're going to come crashing down the bottom of the league. But I'm going to be optimistic and put us in 14th. '13th, I've gone for Southampton. This is a bit of an out one because obviously they were battling relegation next season. They only got their safety maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the season ended. And personally, I've only gone for this one due to their manager, Rasenhutel, is that how you say it? The ex-Leipzig manager from Bundesliga. Quite gets a lot out of your players. Like, it'll make you run, press. And obviously Southampton, they have a fair few talented players, but they lose them all the time, especially to teams like Liverpool. But Che Adams, I think, from Blues is a very, very good signing. He's very quick and he's got a good finish on him as well, so he'll probably do very well in the Prem. It's probably more suited for him in the Prem than it was for the Championship. But they've also signed Danny Ings, who's alright player, but he doesn't bang in goals for fun. Yeah, they got a very good goalkeeper in, is it Gunn? I think it's him. Quite young, had a much better end of the season. Like Forster, he's just nowhere to be seen now in the club. But yeah, it's a bit of a bold prediction, but I've put him in 13th due to their manager. 12th, I've gone for Bournemouth. Obviously, I mean, you could say they're almost an established Premier League side at this point, especially if it goes into next season. But at the moment, Eddie Howe, obviously, fantastic manager, gets the best out of his players. They've always got a young squad. They spend maybe a little bit too much on players. I think like 50 million on Jordan Ivan. Solanke barely played for them. They bought him injured. But obviously that player they bought from Sheffield United a couple of seasons ago has done really well. They've got Nathan Ake, who's obviously a highly rated centre back. And the only problem I'd say Bournemouth have is goalkeeper. I think they need to improve the goalkeeping position. But other than that, obviously they'll get big wins. Obviously, they beat Chelsea 4-0 last season. They always get a good result like that against one top 6 team. But yeah, they'll get plenty of enough wins to stay up. And I've put them at 12th because I think they're going to do quite well. It's played nice attacking free-flowing football. Although they're probably still going to get spanked 5-0 by City. So, but yeah, that's all I can really say about Bournemouth. They've spent a bit of money, but they spent average Premier League price these days, like 20 mil on players. So that's all I can say. '11th, Watford. They've got Danny Welbeck on a free for striker, which is a bit weird because he'll probably get injured instantly. They had a very good season last year. They got to an FA Cup final. Obviously, they got absolutely thumped in that, but they did well. They were pushing for 7th for a long time. They just couldn't quite get there. But I thought they did alright. Their recruitment this season's been a bit quiet, but they have got the likes of they've kept Doucouré, David Feu, some of their top players. And if they perform to the level of last season, I can't see why they can get anything 11th, if not even higher. That's all I can really say about them. They've not done that much. Tenth, I've gone for Wolves. This last season, obviously, they did an amazing 7th. They just came up from the Championship. They have a quality team. Neves is really good. Jota's really good for them. Jimenez, who they've now got on a permanent for about 30 mil, quality. Rui Patricio, the Portuguese #1 as well, they've got him. They've reinforced with some more Portuguese players. I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about them. They might do very well for them, they might not. But the only reason I've placed them in 10th rather than 7th is the fact that now they're in the Europa League for this season, and obviously they're going to have to be having to play a lot more games because at the moment they're currently qualifying for it still. So that's going to stretch their squad because their squad's quite small. I know they've brought in some new players, but they've also took out some players on loan. For example, Costa's gone to Leeds on loan, and we've bought Courtney House on them. That's made their squad a bit smaller. But yeah, they've got quite a thin squad, and for me, that's going to put a bit of a strain on the league, balancing that between the Prem and the Europa League. And last season, they barely made any changes to their starting 11. They really rarely used subs, so that's going to be a big strain on the fitness of the players. So 10th for me. Ninth, I've gone for West Ham. Obviously, they had a disastrous start last season, but they did eventually improve and they finished around the mid-table mark from what I can remember. They lost Arnautovic, big loss, was their top goal scorer last season. They do have Chicharito. Yarmolenko is back from, who was fantastic until he got injured at the start of the season. But yeah, they've got a pretty good team. I mean, even Snodgrass plays from still, but I'd say defence is a bit of a worry, but Fabianski is fantastic for them, especially he was last season. So if he's good enough again, they'll be okay. But yeah, they're quite an exciting team. Pellegrini, obviously, he won the league with Man City. Quite an established manager. I know he went to China, but he came back, and they play good football. But yeah, they do whack some teams in the lower part of the table, about 3-4-0. So I could see them definitely getting 9th. That's all I can say really. They've also got a fantastic defensive midfielder in Declan Rice. Eighth, I have gone for Leicester. They were 7th, I think, but due to loss of Maguire, obviously Finn might think different to this because he knows a bit more about the other Leicester centre-backs. But for me, obviously, I think Maguire anyway is going to be a slight bit of a loss. So obviously he's one of your top players. If he's not top players for your club, he's top player internationally and globally known. So it could take a hit on the club, I don't know. But personally, I've just knocked them back one, put them in 8th. They have invested very, very well, in my opinion, and they've somehow made up profit on their signings. But they have spent 70 mil. They've bought Tielemans for 30, 40 mil, and he was fantastic for them in between January and May. I didn't watch much of Leicester, but from what I could tell was obviously he was a massive improvement in their central midfield. They get goals, ping it around the pitch, you know, a bit of a driving force in midfield. Very good. Can probably also win a tackle as well. And then Perez, which is a bit of a weird one, 30 mil, but like I said about Newcastle, he was their second highest goal scorer last season, and I think he was their top assister as well. So obviously it could be an improvement on their attack because they've never ever really been able to find Vardy's goals from elsewhere. Obviously they don't have Mahrez anymore either, but especially striker position. I know Perez isn't really a striker, but he can play there. That could help. Obviously Iheanacho has been a bit of a flop for him, although he has scored a few goals in pre-season. But yeah, I think Leicester 8th is about right. Seventh, I've gone for Manchester United. Now, this might change. I think anything between 8th and 6th can completely change around. But I could say that about the whole bottom half of the table, that could completely change around. But for me, Man United, Solskjaer said he was going to do a big change up. I've not seen it. He sold Lukaku, that's it. He sold your top goal scorer. Well, Pogba might have been actually. But still, he's not positive for Man United, Pogba and Lukaku. But at least he got rid of one. I've got to give him credit on defensive reinforcements. Maguire is a huge improvement over Phil Jones because Phil Jones is shite, and Wan-Bissaka is a massive improvement on Valencia and Ashley Young. So Luke Shaw, Lindelof, I don't really rate Lindelof, but Luke Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka is a pretty solid defence with De Gea in goal, hopefully if he's back at his best. Question marks for me is they still need a number 10. I know Rashford has the number 10 shirt, but he's not a number 10. He's going to be their main striker next season, so he's going to have to stop hitting it in Rose Ed. Obviously they've got players like Alexis Sanchez, who's just not the player he was. Jesse Lingard, who's massively overrated. Matic, who's very slow. Fred, who flopped. They're a bit of a hit and miss team, Man United, and for me that's why I've put them 7th. They've not completely changed up their squad, they've just kind of kept it the same. They've just got rid of Lukaku and that's it. Obviously they've had some very good young players during pre-season. What's his name? I think is it Woodburn or something? He's been banging in goals for fun, but obviously we'll have to wait and see if they live up to that expectation. But yeah, for me 7th. I don't think Solskjaer's that great of a manager, but obviously this season could prove me wrong. But for me 7th. 6th, I've gone for Everton, and I would have been more confident about this if they signed Zaha, but I think Everton have made some fantastic recruitment. I was going to say who they signed, but it's just completely gone out of my head who they've signed. Well, they've got Pickford in goal, who's the England number 1 at the moment. He's a fairly solid keeper, can lose his head at times, but obviously they've got Richarlison as well, in my opinion he's a very, very good player. Cost them a lot of money though, but they got him. They got Keane, who obviously was good at Burnley, but they signed him, and the defence is a bit shaky, like their set piece defending is really bad. They lost Idrissa Gueye to PSG, which may be a loss, but personally I think they've recruited well. They've got Digne left back, who's did very well from last season. Sigurdsson, who if he reached his best he would Easily be one of the best number 10s in the Prem, although he doesn't really reach it that much since he cost him 50. Everton have spent a lot of money thinking about it on their players. Wow. They did get like 20 mil off Lookman though, I think, earlier. I can't remember for the life of me who they've signed. I'm going to have to search it after this. But I know they've made some good recruitment. Oh, Gomez, fantastic signing that was. They've also signed Iwobi. Now, Iwobi isn't, my opinion for Arsenal, he didn't score as much as he was supposed to or get many assists, but when you actually look at his stats, he had a very high expected goals and expected assists rank, but obviously for whatever reason he didn't turn to goals or assists. He scored a cracking goal in the Europa League, but 40 mil, a bit steeper. Get Everton to splash the cash. I think he will be an improvement over players like Theo Walcott, and Gomez obviously was fantastic for them on loan last season, and now they got him on a permanent. Hopefully he can just get even better. They're the two players they signed that I thought improved the team a lot. For me, I'm just gonna, there's my risky, super risky one, which is 6th for Everton. Fifth, I've gone for Arsenal. Now they have had a pretty good transfer window, I've got to say, especially over the last few days. Obviously their defence is a shambles. They lost Koscielny. He what did he do? He refused to train with the squad and whatever, and he's supposed to be their captain, and he signed for Bordeaux. But they have improved, I'd say, slightly in defence. I think he's a bit overrated, but David Luiz has came in. Anyone's an improvement over Mustafi, so that's good. Kieran Tierney for left back is an improvement over Monreal and Kolasinac, personally. Right back, they've got Hector Bellerin to come back, who's okay defensively, I don't know. Attacking wise, he's not too bad. But yeah, I still think their defence is quite shaky. I know Leno got better as the season went on, but I think they should have focused a bit more on the defence. That's just what I've put them into 5th. But Nicolas Pepe is a fantastic signing, and that attack of Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe could easily win you a championship if you had a good defence. Easily. But at the moment Arsenal have a shocking defence. They may score goals for fun, but their defence is going to let them down this season. You can't outscore everyone. Fourth, I've gone for Chelsea. Now I know they're under Lampard, who's obviously only had one season in charge, and he only took Derby from 6th to 6th. But I've always thought Chelsea have had some fantastic young players from their youth teams that they always get rid of. They never ever give them a chance, whereas I think under here Lampard will definitely give them a chance. Mason Mount's impressed loads in pre-season, he's playing tons for them. Jorginho might become a good player because he might actually not play in defence and midfield, and he might be able to actually go up the pitch a bit and do forward passes rather than sideways passes. And the crazy thing is, Frank Lampard will finally play Kante in defence and midfield, which will instantly make Chelsea 10 times better. Which is crazy. I had no idea how Sarri did not play him in his proper position last season. We've also got Ross Barkley, who did quite well from last season. Obviously Loftus-Cheek's injured and Hudson-Odoi, but they're to come back and their quality as well. The only problem I'd have is striker. Obviously Tammy Abraham's probably going to be their main striker. He's been given the number 9 this season. But for me in the Championship, he did miss a lot of chances. I know he got 25 goals, but he missed probably just the same amount as well. Big chances. He missed a lot of chances. If he can fix that, he'll be a top player. But until then, a bit risky. Obviously they've got Drew as backup, but not the best backup, is it? They got Pulisic as well to come in. He's a winger from America. Oh, he's American. He's from Dortmund in Germany. Okay player. I don't know if he's worth 50 mil, but he's highly rated, obviously, by Chelsea, so they've bought him for that much. Obviously, they've still got Pedro and Willian. They've still got a very strong team, to be fair. They've got Rudiger at centre back. They did have David Luiz, so I don't know who they play there. They might play Azpilicueta there at the back for the first few games or something. I'm not sure. But personally, I think Chelsea might do alright. and get into 4th. So obviously that leaves us with 3, and unfortunately all 3 are the same as last season. I'll quickly go through it. 3rd, I've gone for Spurs. Now obviously they had to play at Wembley, then they had to play at MK Dons Stadium, then they had to play at now their new ground. Obviously they're going to be a bit more settled this season because of that, because they're at their new ground. But they've improved their team. They've signed Jack Clark, and then they put him back out on loan to Leeds. So one for the future. That Ndombele for 60 mil. They've splashed the cash this year finally, and for me that's a very, very good signing. He's a great strider and runs for midfield. I think you could tell in the Champions League final they were midfielders short. They were really lacking. Dele Alli had to play in like defensive midfield, so obviously that's an improvement for if any of their midfielders get injured. Him and Sissoko would be absolutely deadly, I think. Around the central midfield, lots of legs and lots of energy there. And then they bought Sessegnon, 19 years old. Obviously he didn't do that well with Fulham last season, but Fulham just didn't do well in general. But yeah, 19 years old. He's been around for years. He's been around since he was 16 already. So he's got like a 5-year contract. He'll definitely turn good for him. And then they signed another lad from Sporting Lisbon. I can't remember his name, but they got him on loan with the deal to sign him permanently for about 50 mil next season. And he's apparently really promising. So again, I'd say they've improved. They've kept Eriksen, they've kept Son, they've kept Ali, they've kept Kane, Lloris. They've Alderweireld, especially after all the things he was linked with, Danny Rose. They've kept a lot of players. The only player they've sold is Trippier to Atletico Madrid for 20 mil, and he didn't have a very good season last year. But I guess they got Kyle Walker-Peters to come in at right back, and Davis as well can cover it. So they had to have options there to replace him. I think they'll close the gap on Liverpool and City, but for me, they'll still gonna stick in 3rd. Second, I've gone for Liverpool. Now I know they came second last season as well, but to be honest, them and Man City are easily the top 2 teams in the league by a mile. Again, they'll probably push City all the way, but I just don't think they had enough, and their signings have not been inspiring. They've signed a 16-year-old, another young player, and Klopp's putting a lot of faith into Mane, Salah, Firmino to not get injured. I know they've got Origi, who obviously scores very important goals for him, but for me, they've not reinvested. They need a backup left back. They've only got one left back up. They've only got one left back in the entire squad in Robertson, so if he gets injured, Milner has to play there. Milner's obviously 33, so he can't do that forever. But yeah, for me, Liverpool, this was the chance to invest just that little bit more. I know they've got Alisson, who's a fantastic keeper, Van Dijk, who's easily the best centre-back in the world right now, but they just needed to improve there and maybe get a number 10 or something. Because the only number 10 they've got at the moment is Lallana, and he can't really get a game. They got Shaqiri as well, who's okay, but it's not the depth that Man City have. And obviously, my number 1 is Manchester City. They are unbelievable. Unbelievable. They just spend 60 to 70 million on whoever they need or want. Pep's a fantastic manager. What can you say, really? They really destroy everyone. The only thing they're not very good at is Europe. I'll be mildly surprised if they get anywhere in Europe again, because they seem to always collapse in Europe at the moment. Only against English teams, Tottenham and Liverpool the year before. But I think for the whole season, I know Sane's been injured and he might be out for about 8 months, but they've still got Sterling, Jesus, Aguero, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Fernandinho, Zinchenko, Stones, Otamendi, Mendy, Kyle Walker. Their team's ridiculous. It just takes the piss, really. Their depth is mad. They can play a second team. They got Foden as well, who's easily one of the best young England under 21s players. I don't know how he's going to fit in midfield, but David Silva, how could I forget him? He's in there as well. It's just outrageous, their team. The only thing, maybe they could have signed another centre back, maybe, but they're too good going forward, aren't they? They're going to dominate the ball for 90% of the match. They're probably going to have one time where Stones is going to have to make a tackle. And obviously they got a fantastic goalkeeper in Edison, so he can always make a save. But they've also improved. They've signed Rodri, which is another central midfielder from Atletico Madrid. I don't know where they're going to fit all these central midfielders in. But again, he was very, very good for Atletico Madrid. And then they've signed Cancelo from Juventus with Danilo going the other way. And obviously Danilo didn't play that much for him. But Cancelo's a fantastic sign. Obviously left back's a really troubled spot for him. They've had to play Delph there, who's now gone to Everton, and they've played Zinchenko there, but Mendy's always injured, who they've signed for that position. But now they've got another one who can play both on the left and right side. So again, that's just another strong signing. That was probably their weakness last season, left back, but how they've improved, and I can't see them doing anything other than 90 plus points again. Liverpool might do 90 plus points, but I don't think they'll do more than City. And there we go. I need a drink of water after this, but there's my Premier League table predictions. I did go quickly over a few of them, but that's what I feel. I think it was quite long anyway. I've been chatting for ages. But yeah, that's what I think. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing a few more podcasts soon. We're going to make them only about half an hour long because I want to keep it nice and short and brief. We might talk about the game's results and stuff, or a big controversial point, aka like VAR or something. But yeah, it should be good next season. We'll hopefully be able to do one at least maybe once a week. But anyway, thank you for listening to my predictions, which are probably going to be completely wrong come the end of the season.